Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card video. Today I'm using the Simon Says Stamp Center Cut Geometric Pattern background. This middle circle pops out. I'm just going to use the outside. I'm also using the Big Happy die, just the small thin one. I'm using my PanPastels today. I haven't used them in a while. I'll link to a video series I did on different ways to use this product. I'm going to take the outside of my background and ink it up with some Versamark ink. I'll stamp it onto some Neenah Solar White cardstock. I'm just going to eyeball it to the center. Make sure I get good coverage, and then I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to put anything on top of that Versamark. Here are the pastel colors I'm going to be using. I will list them all on my blog post. Here is the applicator I'm going to use. You do not need a separate applicator for every color, which is what is really nice about these PanPastels. All you need is a paper towel. You can see that I've been using this applicator for many different colors. So I'm just going to pick a side, and it has some orange on it that I had not wiped off. So I'm just going to wipe it off. It doesn't have to be completely clean, just most of it off. And then when I dip it into this yellow PanPastel, you can see I don't get any orange inside the container, so there's no contamination whatsoever. I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out, and you'll see when I'm finished with the yellow here, I'll bring it up to the camera, that the parts that have the Versamark on it, so the image of the stamp, are darker, and the areas of the cardstock where there's no Versamark are lighter, so your stamped image just pops right out. Okay, so now I'm going to go out to the orange. I'm just going to wipe off my applicator here from the yellow, and I'm going to dip it into my orange and start blending. Now you'll see that these colors blend really easily. They also go on very smoothly, so you don't have to worry about like those applicator blocks that you get from the Distress ink. It's nothing like that. So I'm going to put on my red here now on the edge, and I'm going to hold it up so you can see how pretty they are when they blend together. Now I decided I wanted to make my colors a little bit darker. You could see that the PanPastel directly onto the cardstock where there's no Versamark is pretty light unless you put several layers on it. So I'm going to put some more red, wipe my applicator, and notice that I put red right into the orange, and there was no red at all in the orange palette. All right, so this is more like it. I like the way it looks, so I'm going to move on to the green. So I'm going to blend my green in here, and I'm going to blend it right next to the yellow. And what I'm going to do after, because there's sort of a line with the green and the yellow, I'm going to go back to yellow. So I'm wiping my green, and I'm going to put it in the yellow, and you'll see that there's not going to be any green in my yellow. It's so nice. So I'll just color right over the line between those two colors to get them to blend a little bit better. And then I'll grab my blue and finish off the final area of this cardstock. And I actually did not have to go back to the green because they blended really well on their own. Here is the finished cardstock. You can see how easy it was to create this background with the pastels. To clean them up, I usually just spray a little bit of water on my craft mat and wipe it up with a paper towel, and it comes right off. There's just a little bit of powder residue that ends up on your craft mat. I have cut the happy out of some black cardstock. I'm going to take a piece of scratch paper. I'll put a little bit of tape runner on there to adhere it just temporarily. Just press it down there in the middle on one spot. And then I'm going to take my Versamark ink and I'm going to cover the whole thing. And I'm doing this so that I can emboss this without touching it. Okay, so now I've got this black sparkle embossing powder. It's by Ranger, and it's black with like these little flecks of color. And I'm going to sprinkle that all over. This is one of my favorite embossing powders, which is why I have it in a container and not the jar. So I'm going to pull this off and show it to you. You can see you get this iridescent, glittery look. And I started with black cardstock. You could start with white cardstock, but I thought it would look better just in case I missed a spot. I'm using the We Are Memory Keepers nesting circle dies. I'm cutting the white out of 3" and black out of the 3¼ circle. I needed a small birthday, so I took it from the Best Fishes set. I'm going to ink it up with some Versamark ink, and then I'm going to white emboss it on black cardstock. And then I'm going to trim that out. And I'm going to insert this into the happy. So I want it to go inside the loop of the Y and then underneath one of the P's. So where it's going to go underneath, which is the Y and that first P, I'm going to put some 2A glue on the back. And now I'm going to slide my sentiment in so that the right side of the Y is on top of the birthday, and then that first P is also on top of the birthday. And then that middle P is underneath it. So that way you could still read it. I'm going to press it down once I get it straightened out, and I'll trim the edges with a scissors so that they're just peeking out of what is going on top of it. I'm adhering my white circle to my black circle with some ATG tape runner. And then I'm going to cover the entire back of my happy sentiment and the birthday and use some tweezers to center it on top of that circle. I'll put some tape runner on the back of my rainbow panel and adhere it to a Nina Solar White folded piece of cardstock. I'm going to add some Scotch foam to the back of my circle and center it right there on my rainbow panel. I decided to stop right there with the card. I didn't want to add anything else because my background is already busy as it is. So that is the card for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.